What's going on, Jab Jab Talk Nation? It's your boy Ozil back at it again. I couldn't finish this week without recording another video and just share a few more thoughts about what we just witnessed this past weekend. First and foremost, hope you're having a great week. Thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification button to get updated on all the latest videos. On this channel, I'm going to talk about boxing. We're going to jab about boxing, all things boxing. I'm going to try to cover most of the fights. I'm pretty busy working on other channels and in my line of work, but when I get a moment to share something that I'm very passionate about, which is boxing, I'm going to do videos. All right. And Benevidez and Andrade, there's been a lot. I've been watching all the videos. I've been catching all the what the experts are saying, what some of the trainers and what's happening. I saw a couple interviews that Benavidez had recently on a few podcasts. And I've been really thinking about like just dissecting this past weekend, the fight that we saw where Benavidez dominated Andrade in just full Mexican monster mode and just demolished him and really showed us, what he's about. And I just been thinking about, of course, there's a lot of talk about what's next for Benavidez. Is it Canelo Alvarez, which is the fight that we all want to see, right? I think we can all agree to that. I don't see Benavidez fighting anybody else at 168, since he has established that he is the top dog at 168, and the king is Canelo Alvarez. So, I mean, it's the obvious choice, right, for the next fight. But I just wanted to record it and just chop it up with you, and talk about, Benavidez and some of the things that I've been hearing. What's next for Benavidez? And of course, the big question is, can Benavidez beat Canelo? Is the question. Comment down below. Let me know. Let me know. So can Benavidez beat Canelo? So one of the things that I will say is that I watched the fight again, Andrade, and Andrade had some moments in there where and props to Andrade, like he came in there and showed up not like Charlo did against Canelo. Obviously, Andrade was a smaller guy, but apparently he came in at I think 190 pounds. Like he was heavy, even though Benavidez is a big boy. Um, you know, Physical wise, as far as just his body composure, Andrade looked fit. He looked big and he looked strong. And some of the punches from whenever we saw when he had his moments, it looked like he had some pop for a minute. Like I was watching, I was like, "Ooh, okay, this is going to be a difficult fight. This is going to be a different fight um, that we all expected." Like, man, Andrade is coming with full, blaze of glory, just going at it, fearless. And again, shout out to Andrade because props, because he came out there trying to make it a fight, and I think he was trying to impose his awkwardness, trying to move Benavidez and just trying to, 1-2 and trying to land those combinations. Although, like when I was watching it again, Benavidez does something with his guard that, even whenever Andrade was pop, 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 and just popping him, he landed a couple good shots on him. But Benavidez with that high guard, he has a really interesting guard where he really deflected most of those shots. So I think Andrade, it just looked good on Andrade because he threw the punches with authority. Um, but I mean, he landed a few shots, but they weren't, he didn't land all the shots. It looked a lot prettier when he threw them than the damage he actually made with them. So but again, props because he went out there trying to make a statement, and I think he was trying. I think for the first few rounds, I think he was trying to establish some authority in the ring with Benavidez and let him know like, hey, I came here to fight. So props to Andrade for not folding and just giving it his best shot. So watching again the fight and then watching Benavidez, and there was just a lot of things that Benavidez did on the fight that was really interesting. Looking at it again, it's just Benavidez is just one of those fighters where when he was just his jab is just and his, he's a long rangy fighter, and he's not like a boxer where he's gonna box you and use a lot of footwork, but he does enough and he does throw out the jab, but he's very smart and knows how to make adjustments. And when he was throwing the hooks, they were very like timely, and they were just precise and just damaging. And he's a type of fighter that if he touches you a few times at 168, which is his weight class, it lands different. I almost want to say like he hits either maybe even harder. It's a different kind of punching power. He doesn't have knockout power, but there's something about his punching power that is not like a Triple G type of like where he just knocks you out. Although Canelo took his punches, Triple G's punches, um, I think Benavidez has a different punching power that will gain Canelo's respect. I think it'll be a lot different if we saw Benavidez pop Canelo with those shots. It just lands different, you know. So what's next for Benavidez? That is the question that's been circulating around. Like, what's next? Uh, Again, the obvious choice is Canelo Alvarez. Like, I was looking at the list at 168. He beat Caleb Plant. He beat Andrade, who was an undefeated champion, who got a shot, moved up weight. It wasn't like he was jumping, 2 to 3 weight classes. I mean, he just jumped up a weight class, fought the top dog, but I think he was hungry, he was undefeated, and he wanted to get tested against the best. And, he dared to be great and, came up short. But, he was a very, competitive, very big, one of the top dogs, at 160, a champion at that. So, he Benavidez has been fighting some really, some top, competitors at 168. And I know there's been, there was rumblings about like, oh well, there was some guy who I saw, I was watching the YouTube video, and they were saying, well, David Morrell, like he should fight David Morrell, and this guy was saying how David Morrell will cause some problems for David Benavidez, and I just don't see it. Like, I really don't see it. Like, let me know. What do you think? Do you think David Morrell would beat Benavidez or cause some problems? I don't think so. I think Benavidez beats him earlier than Andrade. I don't see I don't see Morrell. Like, I've watched this fight. Yes, he can punch, he can crack. He's young. He has some skills, but I just don't think he's fought the level of competition that Benavidez has. And I think he'll have his moments. His size, his punching power would make the fight interesting at 168. It's his weight class, but I don't see the skills to beat Benavidez. That's just facts. So I don't think that fight's exciting. Um, I don't think he has really much of a name at 168 to really do anything. I don't see it. I'm just not interested in that fight. I'm not. Although boxing fans, I mean, we'll definitely see it. David Morrell is a household name at 168, but I just don't. He just doesn't. I don't see anything that he could do to David Benavidez to make the fight enticing. Now, what makes sense? What makes sense though? What makes sense from a business side and from just like a fight fan dream fight, it is Canelo and Benavidez. Like, is there any other fight to see? It's David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. Period. Like, I don't see 2024. It'll be very disappointing. It'll be just as disappointing as whenever we were all crying for Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather, and didn't get it until 5 years later or whatever. Uh, Hopefully, we don't get to see that. Um, Hopefully, we don't get to see that. And I think Mayweather is not Canelo. and this is not to get it back and forth. Mayweather did his thing. He fought top fighters, no doubt about it. But towards the end, he fought Berto, and he just fought, you know, fighters that weren't really on his level at all. And and as much criticism as Canelo gets, like, oh, he's dodging Benavidez. Look, y'all, he is not dodging Benavidez. Okay, all right. The man could fight a writer, or who was the guy who he fought last? But he could fight a writer, or geez, who did he fight last? Geez, put it in the comment section. My mind went blank. Every now and then, look, why not? Like he demolished the 168 division. Remember, he moved up, went to 160, he hopped to 168 and fought all the champions at their natural weight. Caleb Plant, um, Saunders, the other champion, Smith. I mean, he fought all the top dogs at 168. Okay, so before everybody starts criticizing Canelo and saying he's picking and choosing, remember he wiped out that 168 division, and then he went up to fight Bivol at 175, which is a dangerous fighter. So yeah, Canelo is not afraid of Benavidez. Okay, definitely not afraid. So, but is this camp like? I'm pretty sure Eddie Reynoso's like, it's just Mexican fighters, man. They're gonna fight Mexican. One of the things about Mexican champions and fighters that they fight each other. They will fight each other. Um, and the Morales and Marquez, and even Chavez, and he fought all the fighters there back then. All the top, they fight each other. I mean, they're the ones who really don't give a damn. They'll fight anybody, okay, and they'll travel all around the world to fight. So I don't see Canelo afraid of Benavidez. Is it going to be more of a strategy? Maybe more of a strategic, like a build up to a Benavidez fight. But I think from a business side, I think it makes sense. I think there's no need to prime this anymore. I think this thing is already marinated. I think we've been watching Benavidez, do his thing. We've been watching him beat his opponents impressively. We've been watching Canelo, excuse me, you know, regaining a sense of that eye of the tiger, so to speak. Getting back into 100%. He was nursing a hand injury, and now he's back. He's back fighting again, and according to Canelo in his last fight, nobody could beat Canelo at 100%. He is the top dog. Oh, he fought Charlo last. And again, Jermell Charlo was the top dog in his division. So even though he jumped up, 3 weight classes, I mean, he was still a competitive fighter who a lot of people thought that Jermell Charlo was a lot more dangerous than Jermell. Jermell was a lot more dangerous than Jermell 160, um, because they felt that Jermell was the most focused and more disciplined, and he was a lot more skillful. I mean, that's what even some of the trainers were saying. Canelo beat him, and demolished him, and there was no competition there. I mean, hell, I want to say, come on, that Amir Khan had a few special moments against Canelo than Jermell, and I think Jermell, I would say that Jermell is a little bit more talented than Amir Khan. I don't know, but I mean, that's not on Canelo. Canelo did his thing, and he's at 100%, and he showed that. So I digress. Canelo, Benavidez, are we going to see it in 2024? What do you think? I do feel like this is the fight that needs to happen. I do feel that Canelo, I don't know, can Benavidez beat Canelo? Like, look, Canelo is a whole different animal. Canelo is a whole different animal, and I do feel that he has the boxing IQ to not allow Benavidez to do what he does best. I think Canelo's movement, his boxing ability, his punching power. I could just see Canelo hitting, David Benavidez in the arms and really. I feel like Canelo has a lot of tricks in his bag, and I think that he has enough at this stage of his life, which is the reason why I feel like we need to see it sooner than later. I feel like this Canelo here at 100% still have, he's not super old in boxing world, or he's super young, but he's there. Like we could say that this is kind of prime time for him. We all could say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the Canelo that fought, Danny Jacobs, but he's still like he regained his passion, the eye of the tiger. He's ready, 100%. And I think this is the fight that needs to happen. I really do. Can David Benavidez beat a Canelo at 100%? I don't know. It's just, it's hard, because Benavidez is so talented and so dangerous. He's 27 years old. He's getting better. He can crack. One of the things that is interesting about David Benavidez is obviously he went through his hardships early on where, he made some mistakes, and, there was times where he would, gain some weight and he just wasn't as disciplined. But now he's focused, he's disciplined, and he's just a whole different animal. He has acquired that discipline and focus that Canelo has. He has that discipline, he has that hard work and dedication mentality, and that's what makes this fight interesting. Is that David Benavidez would be Canelo's toughest fight, no doubt about it. And I do believe that David Benavidez could definitely test Canelo. I don't know. I want to see it. I want to see it. Um, we got to see it as boxing fans. Jab Jab Talk Nation. We got to see that fight. I think there's no other fight. There's no David Morrell. There's been talks that Canelo fighting Jaime Munguia. Really, y'all? Like Jaime Munguia in May? There was some, rumblings in the boxing world. Jaime Munguia, really? Canelo would sweep that man. Remember when Canelo put an ass whooping on Chavez? Yeah, that it would be 10x on Jaime Munguia. Okay, sure, bring it on. I mean, if that's a tune up, if we want to, I guess. But who wants to see that fight? I don't. Um, we got to see Benavidez in May. I mean, I think, and I wouldn't be, and people are saying, "Oh, Canelo's not he's not going to want that." Listen, I think Canelo's up for the challenge. I would love to see Canelo because I think he's going to have not only he's at 100%, but there's pressure on him to say, I'm sure his camp's going to say, "Hey, look, you're at 100%. Benavidez can make a really good fight. You're up for the challenge. Everybody's been saying that this is the monster. You're saying that you're the real monster." I think that there's going to be a little bit of chip on his shoulder. Like there's going to be a little bit of pressure and a little bit of ego where Canelo's going to be like, you know what? F all that. Put that man in the ring. Let's go. Let me prove to y'all. Because he said this before, like he beats people, and then there's going to be credit. Oh, but you can't beat, so and so. You can't beat Bevo or Arthur Beterbiev, and there's always, and Mayweather got that same shit. So I think there's going to be something about Canelo like making a statement and saying, okay, bring the young buck in the ring. Let me smack him up. And then let me go ahead and hush your critics again. And then go ahead and start bashing me on who else to fight. But I think that Canelo beating Benavidez would really make a statement. Like that would hush a lot of people. Teddy Atlas and all the other critics, all the haters out there, you may not like it. All the haters out there that talk about Canelo not being the pound per pound, he's not the king, and you know, I think there would be something there for Canelo to really gain much more than he doesn't need the money, he doesn't need any more accolades. Um, I just don't see him. I don't think him and Bebo are going to fight anytime soon. I don't see anything going on at 175 that's really intriguing. I just think for where the money and the fight fan and where we want to see it's just Benavidez and Canelo. I think it's an easy decision I think from a fight fans perspective, and I think definitely from a business perspective on their end, because they would make a lot of money. They would make a lot of money for sure. So Benavidez is talking. What I love about Benavidez is that Benavidez was saying that, even if he doesn't, he's like, I'm not worried about. And this is what so I love this man because he just says, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. Y'all know who I want. Everybody knows who who I should fight next. But I'm gonna do my thing. If Canelo don't want it, then I'm gonna move forward and fight Bivol, and Arthur Benavidez. Um, it's interesting because you know. Benavidez sparred Bivol, and he has some confidence there because he basically, I think there was something circulating online saying that Benavidez put in that work, like he tested Bivol, and even Bivol in some interviews said, "Yeah, kid is strong." So I don't think it'll be a fight like Canelo. I think it'll be a different fight if Benavidez did happen to move up at 175 and fought Bivol. Uh, can he beat Bivol? I don't know. I think the way Bivol boxes and the way he moves, and he's a big boy like Benavidez, I think it'll be a 50-50 fight. I think that'll be a tough fight for Benavidez. But again, this is why I love these Mexican young-hearted champs is that they will jump up weights, they'll fight the top, they'll lose, they'll come. I mean, it's just Benavidez is that he's cut from that fabric. I think he will move up weight at one, and he'll say, "Hey, I'm going to fight whoever is at 175." And I think Bivol would be the one. So I know Bivol has a fight. Arthur, Better Beeve. I mean, I know there's been Better Beeve and Beeve. So what's up with those guys? Like, is it? I don't know, Eddie Hearns. Like, they're not fighting. I know Better Beeve was coming back from an injury, but no, they don't. It's just a really boring division. Um, just don't fight each other, and Bivol is not really active. So I don't know what's going on with that, but um, Benavidez will wake him up for sure. So I hope that fight doesn't happen. I do see that happening maybe later down the line. I just feel like just leave 175 alone. There's a fight to be made at 168, and that's Canelo and Benavidez. Period. After that, Canelo and Benavidez could do whatever they want, you know. But we got to see that fight. We got to see that fight. So that is my that's my take on on Benavidez. I guess I really didn't give you guys a real answer on whether or not Benavidez can beat Canelo. Can he beat Canelo? Um, I do believe he can. I think Benavidez can hurt him. And I think that if Canelo isn't on his A game, if we see a Canelo like against Ryder or anything less than that, I think Benavidez beats him. I really do. I think Canelo needs to be on his A game to beat a guy like Benavidez at this level. Um, I think I saw Timothy Bradley. He referred to Benavidez as the sweet science killer, and I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really interesting take because like Canelo, um, Canelo has fought different styles of boxers, and Benavidez has also fought punchers, boxer punchers, slick. He's fought Andrade, he's fought boxers, slicksters. So he's fought like some also an array of boxers. Canelo couldn't beat Bebo. I think that was a size, and I don't think he was at 100%, but I think it was a size issue. But I do feel like Benavidez is a big boy. I think he's size wise. I think it'll be, he's almost kind of like a 175 going to 168, but with some high skill level, boxing skills, which makes the fight really, really interesting. So can he beat Canelo? I do believe he can. If Canelo isn't at 100%, but if Canelo is at 100%, it's going to be tough for Benavidez. Again, he's never faced a Canelo with that much, fighter with that skill level and that boxing IQ. And again, Canelo has some tricks. He has some tricks under his sleeves, and I think he'll be able to make some adjustments to make it really, really hard on Benavidez. So that's my take, y'all. That's my take. I know this is kind of a long video, but I just been watching all the videos and I've been catching, like seeing what everybody's been saying, and I've been kind of processing it. I'm still watching videos and watching the interviews. I saw one with David Benavidez recently, and the Canelo's on vacation right now. So it'll be really cool to see what happens next. But I do feel like I think we're going to see it. I do feel like we're going to see it. A lot of people are being very pessimistic and saying we're not going to get it. I think Canelo has much to prove, and I think his camp will let him know, hey, I think this is the Mexican monster everybody's talking about. He's in your division. Give him the chance, and let's go ahead and shut the critics up once again, and let them know who the real king is. And I think that's the only fight to be made. Makes sense. Mucho dinero, and of course, super fight fans like ourselves are gonna appreciate that fight. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my take. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are. Do you think we're gonna see Benavidez and Canelo in 2024? And can Benavidez beat Canelo? Uh, yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, y'all. Gotta go. Thanks again for supporting the channel. See you next time. Peace. One love.